Fantastic, I feel much better. God bless you. Right, timekeeping is not hard. We're only 5 minutes behind now. So our final speaker before the questions and answers session will be our brother Enrique. I suspect it was Enrique originally or something, but IMRAAN GILL, and he's from Angola, Africa, and he came from a Christian background, and he's a student here at the university, so he's going to give us his contribution for the night.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And may peace be upon all of you. And I think it's a really beautiful crowd today, you know. Alhamdulillah. I just put some points away because I generally tend to forget some points in my life that I became Muslim, but before I became Muslim. And I generally start from my birth, things that my family tell me, all the way up to my early teenage, to my late teenage. Till now. Everything that I say that is right is from Allah, and everything that I say which is wrong is from my own mistakes. And I hope you could excuse me from not doing say anything wrong. I just try my best to please Allah. Alhamdulillah. So, like I said, within my story, I tend to jump from bits and bobs, places to places, because there's a lot of things that did happen throughout my life, and there's a lot of things which I like, there's a lot of things which I dislike. I had many moments, happiness, times which I was amazed, times of sorrow, and I have to say that it was all worth it for me to come to this day. I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, it's the best thing that's happened to me, and I can sincerely say I'm really happy to be a Muslim. So if people ask me what actually made me become Muslim, because generally something happens, or you heard this hadith, or you heard this in the Quran or anything, I can't specifically say, look, guess what? This is what made me become Muslim, because it was a process that I believe. It was something that just happened before even I knew it would happen. It just came out my mouth before I even wanted to speak. And I know there might be some Muslims over here that were there when I converted. And just like what Brother Abdullah was saying, today it made it 1 year. To me, it will make it 3 years in March. And it was an Islamic, I think it was Islamic Diversity Week, but I remember it was in Newcastle University. And a speaker from Canada had came to give a talk. So yes, I was born in Angola. I still don't know my country very well. There's many people which aren't born in Angola which tell me about my own country. And I only stayed there a couple of months and we left. We went to Portugal. We stayed there for a couple of years when my brother was born. And I came to England, lived in London for a little bit, and then I came to Newcastle, and this is where I can say I kind of grew up over here with different cultures and meeting new people. It was all a great experience throughout me growing up. So I'd like to start when I was young, when I was literally a baby. And now my parents tell me, not just my parents, people that I respect, my elders, people that looked after me ever since I was young. They show me my baby pictures. My mom would show me the ones that she got, my auntie, and we have godmothers and my grandmothers, and everyone will show me pictures of when I was a baby, and then they will tell me things which I reflect upon, and I say, okay, it's something that's quite beautiful to them, and also something that actually means a lot to me. So I was loved by many. All my family took really good care of me, and I thank Allah for giving me a really beautiful family, alhamdulillah. So something just in my parents, they call me Bebito. It's like a nickname. Everybody, even back in my our country, they don't know me as Henrique. Like, they can't even say the word IMRAAN. And some people call me Henry. I go home, like, what did they call you in English? I say Henry. And they're like, what? And then like they just call me Bebito, which the word baby in my language is bebe. So when my mom talks to me about this, she says, you know, you were my little bebe, and we just thought, I'll call you Bebito. So even now she calls me Bebito, so like I'm still her baby. And she used to tell me, not just my mom, and many people, and even now they tell me, you know, when you were younger, we had a lot of trust in you. Well, had because I became Muslim, you know. But they used to tell me we had a lot of trust. We used to look up at you and we said, look, if there's anything, I'm going to put this boy in front. If there's anything, I trust this young boy, and he's going to go out and do something for us. Let's just look after him, and inshallah, things will happen. They would say, inshallah, it's Portuguese, which means the same thing, but they don't really know the history, etc., etc. Now I can reflect upon it. I can easily say that to them, it's something maybe I might become, I don't know, the next Einstein and the next big thing that, you know, but I can say I was the first Muslim in my family, and I can tell them, it says, look, Allah gave me a message to give to you, and this is what will save you. So if you ever call me a savior, if you ever call me something that he's going to be the role model, he's going to be the leader of the family, I can only offer you Islam. But they don't really look at it that way. My mom used to tell me, when you were younger, I thought you were going to become a lawyer. I mean, I don't have a straight career yet, but he said he's going to become a lawyer when he's older, because they used to tell me, if there's something that is not fair, I would complain like big style, you know? If my mom would do something like give 2 biscuits to the other guy and give me 3 biscuits, or even the other way, I'd be like, Mom, it's not fair, you can't do that, Mom. It's not fair. And she's like, I know, but I'll do this. No, Mom, it's not fair. I used to complain like mad, and she used to say, you just fought for justice. Regardless of with you, against you, for me or against me, you just went for justice, justice, justice. And this is some things that my parents tell me now, which I do reflect upon a lot. As I was growing up, I went to Chillingham Road School. When I was in Newcastle, I went to Chillingham Road School. In fact, when we first came into Newcastle, it was at night time, we couldn't find a hotel or anything, and my parents could speak the language, and it had a complication. We were in the car, I can't remember, they tell me the first time we slept in Newcastle was in Leazes Park. And to me, I just laugh at it now, but it's just something that means to me because we had that bond within our family. It was only 4 of us. My uncle, alhamdulillah, he's Muslim now as well, which he was the 5th in the family. And we took him as if, I called him my older brother until today. Even before Islam and after Islam, he's still my brother, not really uncle. But then I went to Chillingham Road School. I stayed there just a couple of years, and I had a teacher there. MashaAllah, she's a really good teacher. I had 2 teachers. And they used to tell me things like, oh, you were so shy when you were in school. You were so this and you were so that. And after the school, I moved into Christchurch, which was at the time was really strong Christianity. And on Fridays, we would go to, a lot of times we would go to the church, and we would do many things. And when I went to Christchurch, I can remember 2-3 years later, the same teachers followed me. And they said, what are you doing? I'm thinking, I didn't even know them, I couldn't remember them. And they would tell me about my past, and I knew your parents, etc., etc. And so I got into Christianity, as well as my family is Christian. Some are Protestants, other are Jehovah's Witness. And in my country, there's many churches. Like there's something called Simon Toko, it's just a so-called prophet. There's many other sects within Angola. I joined the Newcastle Children's Choir, and I was a singer, you know. And we went to many places. I performed in I can remember, I was young, I performed Salvation Army, and then Civic Center. I performed, if I can't remember, I performed after, I ended up performing in St. James's Park, and many of these places. My mom got me to play piano. So okay, I started playing piano. And since I would go to church on Sundays also, they wanted me to play the organ. But I was really young and I was shy and I wasn't as good to organ standards because, you know, there's the keys at the bottom, the black and the white, and there's another set of keys, and I wasn't that good to play the organ. But they wanted me, they were training me to play the organ. I got into salsa dancing after. It's just my mom wanted me to do all of these things, so I mean, I went into salsa dancing and I wasn't really used to dancing with women. And I was like, go on, son, go on, dance. And I was like, Mom, I'm the one that's dancing, not you. And she's like, go on, just dance. And I used to go and there used to be all these women, my age women, older than me, and they used to grab me with my hand. I have to do 1-2 step, and I would just do all these 1-2 steps. And I think my dad was one, I don't think he wants to do salsa dancing anymore, so I left salsa dancing. And my mom, she was doing a photography course. So then she said, I want you to be my model. I was like, okay, well, I'll be your model now. And then, so I was my mom's model then. And alhamdulillah, I still have some, well, she has the pictures, you know, when I was like, I don't know, maybe, I can say 8, 9, and I have pictures of me flexing and me smiling and all these things, and it's all these crazy stuff. As I was getting older, into my early teenage, maybe, okay, I can say 11, 12 years old, and we formed a dance group. And we were doing, at the start, we were doing our cultural dance. We tend to call Kuduru. I don't think you'll ever hear it. Don't search it on it. Please leave it one side, because right now it's like, it's terrible. Anyways, we were doing these dance groups. And it was quite cool at the start, you know, because we were meeting new people and going new places. And I think people went out in Newcastle and doing all these things. And I think to me, the best thing about it was I was getting paid. But the worst thing about it, I wouldn't see the money. I stayed with my mom, you know. So I said I was like a mommy's little boy. And like I say, I always love my mom. I love my mommy for more now. And alhamdulillah, she's one of Allah's blessings to me. And it's beautiful. And from Islam, it taught me how to appreciate, respect, admire, and love my mom even more, as well as my parents and other members of my family. So me and my mom had a really close relationship. We still do now. And alhamdulillah, I'd like to thank Allah once again for that. It came to a time that I was taking church really seriously. And that even I was going past my parents and they would just stay at home, I'll be at church. And I was a Catholic to start off. I went to Protestant, but then I became a Catholic. Catholic was one I took seriously as a youth. And there was a priest, and I was like, I forgot what you call it, but I was like, the priest didn't help. I would wear like, you know, the white thobe, carry the candles around, and like be the chief's like little right-hand man. When they would give when you were doing the ceremony and giving the wine and the bread, I'll be the first one there. I'll be the first one to eat it and drink it as well, and all of these things. And I was enjoying it. After this, I would go like, after we'll go to the kitchen. And I think there was a really, mashallah, really nice guy there. And he really liked me, as well as my other members of the family. And he would teach me a lot. And he used to give me money. But I don't know if I actually went to church because of the money, but I sincerely like going to the church, you know. And at that time, 50 pence in a pound was something great. Oh, I'll go and get my sweets now, you know. And sometimes I would collect the money. At the end of like a month or something, I would go and get a game and go my little bro play PlayStation. But at the time it was a Nintendo 64. We would do all of these things. And I actually found that he passed away last year of cancer. To the point that I couldn't even go back to tell him the message of Islam. And when I went to see him, I already found out, okay, I already know that he had passed away, and there's not much that I could do to help him. And I found the history, and the priest that was there, he moved on to London, and he changed his status, you know. He became one of the big guys now. And so when something's gonna go back, it's like there's a big time change, and it was all in Allah's hands, you know. But with this guy, one day I asked him, I was coming up with all these questions, and I wanted to ask him, because my parents couldn't answer this question. They were busy because they came They actually came to this university. How that my mom finished her PhD, my dad went up to a master's, and I went back to Angola now. And I asked them, who created God? I bet you can't answer that question. And I asked them again, rephrased it with different words. I asked them, how was God just there, you know? There's God and there's me, and I know I had a start, so what is God's start? And I was getting confused with all these, and the answer that he gave me, because I was a youth, I would accept that he says God was just there by the Holy Spirit. I was like, that's a good answer for me, because there was all these technical words and everything, and I accepted it, and I was like, okay, kind of like brushed it off my shoulder. Answer completed. I went back home, I was like, Mom, Dad, I got the answer, and that's it. I was happy for the rest of the day. I was reaching my age of 14, and you know, I started going back to my home country and mixing with the wrong groups. Even over here, mixing with the wrong groups. I went to Portugal, mixing with the wrong groups, and I came back. And when I went to church, I still went to church. But then when I went outside, I still went outside. And then what happened was, I was starting to go out clubbing. I was still doing my dancing. I was, you know, just a little G, you know, the G. I started finding church was boring. So it was crazy, but I mean, I was 14, I would go behind my parents' back. They wouldn't know, they'd know I'd come back home at 1 in the morning, and I'll say, oh no, I was at my auntie's house, you know, and she would just trust me like that, but I was outside clubbing, I would do all these crazy things. And I remember this one time I actually went to Angola. I was starting to become really, I would say jahal, I was starting to become really ignorant and wanted to go out in that life, you know. So I was going outside. I remember I went to Angola, and it's what we would classify kind of like the hood. We'll go in the hood, and sometimes we hear gunshots at I don't know, 3 in the morning, and we're like, oh, what's that? We'll go outside, there's nothing there. And I remember one time the police came out with AK-47s, and I was like, cool, can I have one and stuff? And the police started shooting because there was a guy I think he stole, and I think they actually got shot, and I was just there, just cool, chilling. My cousin was like, you have to come in. I was like, no, I'm not going in. I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to go out and do that, you know. I went to Portugal, and we used to play football, and it was like what you would say, you know, even like, you know, Nani actually came back from our area. Even like Cristiano Ronaldo, they go all from the same area, and we played a lot of street football. But I was young at the time, so they'd be like, I's a kid, we'll put him at the end of the match. And we used to gamble, you know, we used to get like, at the time it wasn't euros, we used to go escudos. Be like, I don't know, 500 escudos, and like we would gamble. The winner gets all the money, blah, blah, all these tournaments. And I remember my uncle, he actually entered for the night tournament. He ended up going to the semi-finals, got up to Spain, and that's when they lost. But alhamdulillah, I had a good experience. There was one time, since I was getting into clubbing, so I was getting into girls, you know. This is when I was starting to get older, and at the time I had a girlfriend, and she was in Newcastle. So I went to London, and there was this girl, she kind of like broke up, and I was there, sitting, and she was like, oh, this. I was like, oh, don't worry, I'm here for you. And then, you know, just doing the little child lines, and the thing is, I never knew my mom was upstairs hearing everything. And she knew I had a girlfriend. And then after, our mom came, basically, my Vito or Henry said, why are you lying to the girl? I said, come on, man, stop playing Hayden. And then there was all these complications. And to me, it's just something that I look back now and I just laugh upon it. But there was one thing that I would never lie to myself. I would know that there was something superior and something more complex to what appears to the eyes. Because I still had that religion in me. I still had a heart, you know. I was just blocking, like, what we would say, I would just be blind to things, you know. I still believe. And people will tell me, I would talk about ghosts, I would talk about all these weird things, but people will tell me, nah, it's not real. And then like I reflected on it, now I said, look, we should stop using the West as a reference. When we look at China and they discover all these things and people don't believe, we just say we're using the West and the Western education as a reference, and we should go out and explore these things, you know. But I cleared, and I believed in the supernatural and all these things. I was a quiet guy. I really didn't talk. I liked people. I used to talk to people. I was a really good guy, but just don't stand on my toes because I could bite, you know. And I remember, since I was still a Christian, I remember sometimes I'd come back from school. This is already, I was in secondary school. I would come back from school so angry. I used to pray for people to stand on my toes, kind of, and I would just have a fight right there. And things, and alhamdulillah, like nobody, I would just stay in the same path, and I would just give people the weirdest stuff, and they would just stay on their own line. And it's just the way I live my life, you know. The law protected women. It still does. Like, men can't hit women. But me, I didn't care. There was actually there's one time that I ended up in a fight. I mean, she was older than me, but I ended up in a fight with a woman. She was disrespecting me, big style, because she thought the law protected her, and I said, look, the law will protect you, but I don't care. And I can remember, it was actually funny, but and now she talks to me and she says, remember these times and all that, and I forgot about it, and I ended up in all these fights, etc., etc. There was another time, well, I don't want to talk about my fight. I ended up fighting loads. That's concluded. The police would come up to me and they said, like, he's a kid, how is he fighting so much? And the police couldn't do anything to me, kind of thing, or run away or something. And there was one time I got angry with God. I don't know what happened, and I was being a bit weird because I'll be saying, like, I'll be talking to God, and I'll be like, God, you know I don't believe in you, right? And I'm talking to God, and I'm telling him I don't believe in you. And I'm thinking, I mean, I reflect upon it after, I'm like, I'm just talking to him saying I don't believe in him. So I'm like, kind of like saying, I do acknowledge that there is a God not to believe in, you know? But then after, through my life, I started reflecting upon things and asking more questions and thinking. Because I believe in the supernatural, so I used to ask more questions about that. Things that were greater, things that were beyond my capability, you know. There was things in my country that happened, weird things in churches, like there would be a priest like doing all this, saying hallelujah, and like jumping about and dancing, and then the people would come to the priest like, do a miracle. The priest would touch him in the head, or they would faint, and stand up again, and all of these things. And I would look and I was like, wow, you know, it's really cool, these things, and maybe I might get into that. But then there was one time I went to Angola, which what happened was a football match, a group of people were drunk, and I was a bit silly at the time as well, and they pointed a gun in my direction, and they cocked the gun. I was with my two cousins, and they went to shoot the gun. My cousin kind of went in front of me, so the bullet would get to him. But subhanAllah, it jammed. The bullet jammed, and they ran away. And I found out later on that they actually shot a policeman. But I was getting into these things, you know. So I asked my father one time, what is the purpose in life? And he says, the purpose in life is for you to go forward, look after your kids, and then you die. He wouldn't give me a really good description, so I would just ignore it. So then we became Jehovah's Witness. And I would ask him a million questions. They used to know me as the questioner. And they used to say, Kevin, like, they're making you paradise, God will cleanse the world, and heaven will be on earth, paradise, you know? So I'll be like, how is heaven going to be on this earth if I've basically known everything? And what is there new to know? If we're going to live in here forever, what is there new to know? Wouldn't get a really good answer. But then there was a point that hit me, is when I went to talk to an elder, you know, and I believe that this person was really knowledgeable, and they were telling me kind of like a secret, said that they talk in tongues. I was thinking, what is this? What if you talk in tongues? And they were showing me like a description, because I remember my uncle used to tell me, and they ran out the house. They were showing me a description, and we were just talking about the Holy Spirit and everything. And next thing I can see, there's this person on the floor, shaking, vibrating, literally like my telephone. And I was just watching, and they were saying words coming out their mouth which I couldn't understand. It was so weird, and I didn't know as they were shaking, they're just rolling and everything. To me, I was like, I thought this person was on drugs. I thought this person was just crazy. And my brother was upstairs. I couldn't move. I just stayed static, and I was hoping my brother would come down, and nothing happened, and then everything came back to normal. I said, I was so thinking to myself, like, you on crack, don't want to know it, I'm out of here, goodbye, kind of thing. And I left it at that, you know. So, kind of like to wrap things up, when I was asking all of these questions, it came across that I was actually talking to a Muslim. And the Muslim said, we were talking about Adam and Eve. As a Christian, I was blaming it on Eve, I was blaming it on the women. It's because of you women that we men have to suffer nowadays. It's you women that have to do this. And like, no, it's both of them. She did this, he did that. Can't blame it on one. I didn't agree. And then what happened was, I was talking to a Muslim, and they invited me to a lecture. I wanted to go to this lecture. I had that doubt, but there was one time I was in my house and I was quite scared, and I fell asleep. And that day, subhanAllah, I dreamt I was Muslim, and I was thinking, since I believe so much in dreams and something that was over me, I said, let me go and try, you know. So when I went to the lecture at Newcastle, the topic was about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and peace and blessings be upon him. And it was something that I didn't hear before. So he was saying so many words of kindness and everything. And I said to myself after the end of the lecture, and said, if this is what the Prophet Muhammad said, may peace and blessings be upon him, this is what Jesus said, may peace and blessings be upon him, there's not much of a difference. If I can accept Jesus being what he is, Imam, I can also accept this great guy, that he brought so much love to the world. And even in the Quran, Allah says that he came as a mercy to mankind, you know. And at the end of the lecture, I went up to the guy, I thanked him very much, and he was just confused where I come in, if I was Muslim, and I just opened my heart and I said, enough of all this bad stuff, I want to become Muslim. And the guy basically said, maybe say the Shahada, and there was many people there, especially the brothers are all gone, but there's a lot of female there, a lot of sisters, and alhamdulillah I did my Shahada, and from then I was like a new baby. I changed everything, and my whole life changed after that. And basically, that is my story.